So today we are going to go from a cake to a skein. That way if you have yarn that you would like to store for longer, it will be better for the fibers, it'll last longer. It's the best way to store your yarn so that it doesn't damage the integrity of the fiber. So you want to make sure that you are pulling from the outside. I like to take the center of the yarn and just kind of stuff it in there. So you want to make sure you're pulling from the outside. And you can open your Swift however big you prefer. I kind of prefer to have it bigger just because you have to do less rotation to get it to stay. So then you'll take that end, and I like to just kind of wrap it a couple times around one of the sort of middle pieces just to keep it there. And then you're gonna hold it out and it will come off the cake naturally. So I just set that down and then I'm going to start to spin. And I'll do it slowly for the first couple rotations. Just make sure that it's on the outside here. And you can see it's slowly starting to go onto the Swift. Usually the best place for me, I find, to put my cake is on the floor. I find that it unwinds faster. You can also put it on a chair, but that extra height makes it go faster. And then you basically just start to spin, and you can spin as fast or slow as you want. This is kind of the technique that I use just because it seems to be the most efficient, but there's other ways to do it, so however you feel like spinning it. This is basically reverse caking your yarn, so you're doing the same steps that you would do to cake it, just backwards. So I'm going to keep spinning this until it is all the way on the Swift. Alright, so I just got to the end. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is unwrap this side, and then it's up to you if they're far apart, you can connect them at different places. These just happen to be in the middle. So I like to overlap them, put them around the yarn, and then just tie them in a nice little bow. If you have a tag that you want to put on your yarn, for me this is scrap yarn, so I just made a little tag that says what it is and how much it weighs. I will slip that onto there and just connect that. That way I can remember, hey, this is this specific yarn and this is how much I have when I'm starting to look for a project to do. And then the other thing that you want to do, and this is kind of optional, but I prefer to do this, is I take some other extra yarn that I have, I cut off a small piece, so I have two sort of small pieces here, and so I have one tie there, and then I'll do two others on other parts of the yarn. This just kind of helps keep it from getting tangled, and it makes it a lot easier when you go to cake it again, to put it back onto the Swift. So I have one, two, and I'll do a third one over here. It doesn't really matter where exactly you do them. You also don't have to do this. It's kind of up to you. All right, so now that I have those, I'm going to take it off of the Swift. To do that, I hold the yarn with one hand, I turn the lever, and I drop it pretty fast. Sometimes it can get tangled, but the faster you drop it, or at least I found that the faster you drop it, the easier that it is to get it off there. All right, so now that you have your yarn off the Swift, it's ready to be twisted back up into a skein. I like to put the tag sort of in the middle. It doesn't really matter, it's not that important. And then I hold the yarn like so. I take one hand and I put my pointer finger out and my thumb up, and I put the yarn around it. In the other hand, you can use one finger, you can use two fingers, it's totally up to you. So then I'll hold it out and I'll start spinning. Doesn't matter which direction you spin, doesn't matter which hand you spin with. I'll twist it about 6 or 7 times, kind of until it's tight. It varies depending on how much yarn you have, what the yarn is, you'll kind of get the hang of it. So once it's tight, if you let it go, it'll kind of start to wrap in on itself like that. So that's when you know it's tight enough. And if you don't get it right the first time, you can always just try it again. So when you want to collapse it, you want to do that right in the middle, or as close to the middle as you can get. So you can do it on your arm, you can do it on your leg, you can do it on a chair, whatever you prefer. I find that the easiest way to do it is to do it with my chin. So I pinch the yarn like this with my chin, I fold it in half, and I let go. And then it twists itself up all nice. I will give that twist where I had my 2 fingers one more turn. I will pinch the other end that I was twisting with, and I will pull it through that yarn. So now we have a skein, and you can go ahead and you can kind of rearrange it, play with it, get it to be in the shape that you like. But now we have our tag here at the bottom, so it's easy to see, and our yarn is ready for storage. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, and happy knitting.